under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I'll call the November 14th, 2022 meeting of the Newcastle Public Works Authority to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Carl Nell.
Here.
Mike Fullerton.
Here.
Tommy Clay, absent. Jean Reed.
Here.
Marcy White. Here.
Item number 2, discussion of possible action on approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Motion second for approval of the agenda.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 3 is citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any citizen to comment on any matter related to the City of Newcastle Public Works that is not on the agenda. Might remind any potential speakers that all speakers shall clearly state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person with only one speaking opportunity. Board members will not respond to comments or questions. The chair may end comment period at his discretion, and prior authorization is required for distribution of materials or to approach the board. This time, is there any public comment concerning City of Newcastle Public Works? All right, seeing none, we'll move to item number 4, consent agenda. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, you said anything to do with Newcastle?
Public Works. So like water, sewer, roads, those type of things.
Roads, I
Speed limits is city.
Huh?
think. Speed limits that have already been changed,
Oh, speed limits. are
Speed
city.
limits, is it on the agenda?
not the one that's already been changed.
She's wanting to
She's talking about the last week.
Okay, we want that on city council or on public works?
speak.
Okay, we'll do that at city council, beginning of city council.
Okay.
Any other potential speakers? All right, item number 4, consent agenda. Are there any items that members of the board request to be removed from the consent agenda and addressed individually?
No.
All right, seeing none, item number 4, consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Motion second for approval of the consent agenda.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 5, discussion of possible action on any items removed from the consent agenda. Be no action on this agenda item. Item number 6, discussion of possible action on approval of calendar year 2023 meeting dates, times and places for regular meetings of the Newcastle Public Works Authority. These are similar to every year. It'll be the second Monday of each month with the exception of October. And that will be the second Tuesday.
I move to approve item 6.
I'll second.
Motion is second for approval of item number 6.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 7, monthly treasurer's report.
All right, good evening, guys. We are reporting for the numbers at the end of October, which is the 4th month in our fiscal year, so that should put us at, ideally at 33.3% in our operating budgets. On the city side of the house, all the departments are operating within or under that 33.3% of what we expected them to have executed at this point in time. The one department that was slightly over last month is the PD, which, as I mentioned, they had to pay for half of geo software. On the NPWA side of the house, all of those, there's 3 operating budgets on that side, and they are all at 33.3% or under as well. Our fire department tax fund has brought in a little over $416,000. We have spent almost $623,000 for our paid fire department. We have spent about 74% of the ARPA funds that you guys authorized us to spend on equipment and vehicles. The items that we're still waiting on is a Chevy pickup and 3 Ford pickups. And I think last Kevin and I talked, I think we have almost $60,000 left of that initial half of the ARPA funds. We did receive some funds we were expecting this month in the Oklahoma Finance Authority that does the quarterly payment to us based on the payroll taxes from some of the businesses around here. We got $379,000, which I put in the wastewater plant fund as previously done. We also received the second half of our ARPA funds in the amount of $935,000. They are currently sitting in Fund 01 until I'm instructed to move them otherwise. The reason I want to mention that is when I go over these fund balances, you're going to be like, whoa. So keep that in mind. There's $935,000 of that ARPA funds, which I think you guys have ideas on other projects for. The sales and use tax came in at $845,732 of that being sales and $113,000 being use tax. This is our second highest month as FY, and we're only $2,300 under the highest month, which was last month. Compared to our budget where we expected to be, we're 9.4% ahead, and at this point last year, at the end of October, we're 4.6% higher. At the fiscal year before that, we're 25.9% higher at the end of October for FY21. Our current indebtedness did grow because the Newcastle Sports Complex loan was finally finalized, so that was an additional item on the debt schedule in your financials, and that puts our debt now at a little over $4.6 million. So here's those fund balances, and keep in mind when I tell you general fund balance, there's a big chunk of ARPA money there. So general fund is sitting at $5.1 million. Capital improvement is $2 million. Economic development is $38,000. Cemetery care fund is $66,000. Parks capital improvement fund is now at $99,000. Our fire station fund is sitting at $2.1 million. Admin and technology, $125,000. Grant cost share fund at $1.9 million. Transportation impact fee fund is now at $235,000. On the NPWA side of the house, Public Works is sitting at $3.1 million. Water impact fee, $1.2. Wastewater impact fee, $1.1 million. And then we have $3.6 million set aside for our wastewater plant fund now. Combined, we have a total of $21 million. Any questions for me?
I believe so. Thank you very much, Jeannie.
Thank you.
Item number 8, general manager's comments.
We are, just one thing, we're working with New of course, for our water and sewer rate study. And right now, we're working with the water superintendent to come up with some projects for a 5-year CIP. So they can get those into that rate study and what we're going to be looking at in the next 5 years. And it's quite a bit. It's a lot. A lot of things that need to be done. So that's where we're at on that rate study. They're coming along. I think it's going to be done by January, and our new rates will come before council for approval. That's all I have.
All right. Item 9, any trustee comments? Item number 10 is adjournment.
Make a motion for adjournment?
Second.
Motion second for adjournment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. This time I'll call the November 14, 2022 meeting of Newcastle City Council to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Carl Nell.
Here.
Mike Fullerton.
Here.
Tommy Clay. Jean Reed.
Here.
Marcy White. Here.
Item number 2, discussion and possible action on approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Could I pull some items out of the agenda? I'll agree to make a motion for the agenda. Not the consent agenda, excuse me.
So that would be a second. All right, motion second for
Yeah.
motion second for approval of the agenda.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yeah. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 3, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any citizen to comment on any matter related to the city of Newcastle that is not on the agenda. Might remind the potential speakers that all speakers shall clearly state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person with only one speaking opportunity. Council members will not respond to comments or questions. The mayor may end the comment period at his discretion, and prior authorization is required for distribution of materials or to approach the council. This time is during public comment concerning the city of Newcastle. Please approach the podium. State your name and address, please.
My name is Pam Kahn, 2401 Oak Hollow Drive, Newcastle. I don't know why the speed limit was changed on, or reduced on Country Club Drive, because the paper mentioned that it was too many cars, not because of wrecks or people getting run off the roads. So I'm here to ask that the speed limit be restored to 45 miles per hour. It's not a hilly road. Southwest 149th has houses, neighborhoods, and a large amount of cars, and it's 45 miles an hour. I realize that's not Newcastle, but it's just an example of a street where you can have that speed limit. And then Highway 76 has neighborhoods, houses, a large amount of cars, and it's 65 and 55. And I'm concerned about the speed limits being lowered for no other reason than too many cars, if that was it. And I feel that the citizen input should be considered, and maybe I just didn't know about it, about the roads that people drive every day before changing speeds. Country Club is an alternative route to heavily congested morning traffic when people are already frustrated, and now they're having to crawl down the road, which even adds to it, which I believe creates an unsafe situation. So I'm wondering if maybe it was because at night it's so dark on that road, that is the consideration. You know, they have speed limit signs where you can have a daytime speed and a nighttime speed on there, if that was the reason, I don't know. So that's it. I just would like you to consider raising it back up to 45.
Thank you very much.
Is that it? Is that all I do? It's my first time here. Okay.
You're good.
That is it. Is there any additional citizen comment concerning the city of Newcastle? All right. Seeing none, we'll move to item number 4, consent agenda. Are there any items any member of council would desire to be removed from the consent agenda and addressed individually?
I'd like to pull out, if you wouldn't mind, item I-2 and I-5, or V.
Okay.
Fine, yes.
I-2 and I-5. All right. I'll make a motion for approval of consent agenda with the exception of items I-2 and 5.
Second.
Motion second for approval of the consent agenda as amended.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 5, discussion of possible action on any items removed from the consent agenda. Item number I-2, Windermere 6 sanitary sewer, M&M Ditching Inc., $86,228, 3-year tiered. And these are maintenance bonds, the final acceptance of maintenance bonds for these improvements.
A question for bringing these up. I know that we purchased a camera system for our sanitary sewer. I was wondering if these lines had been cambered since before we accept them,
Yes, they have,
and they passed.
yes.
Okay, that's the only question I had about it, you know, is whether or not how it looked after all these years. Because I know some of them possibly could have been in fill, possibly not in fill. And I just want to make sure the bedding was good.
Yep.
And not starting a sneaky snake on us.
Yeah.
My only concern.
So we ran the cameras through all of them.
Yeah, our engineer's been going out, looking at that along with the superintendent.
That doesn't mean they couldn't settle at some point in time. So that's one of the things. Do we have an active plan in place to go out and maybe take a look at these things before the bond expiration to make sure we don't have
Yes,
any?
absolutely.
Very good. All right, so, have a motion on item number I-2.
Make a motion to approve I-2.
Second.
Motion second for approval on item number 4I-2.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes.
Yes. Item 4I-5, Meadow Creek Section 3 Sanitary Sewer H&S Plumbing and Utilities Inc., $136,872, 3 years.
I think it's basically answered the same question. I just need it to be pulled out. So I'll make a motion to approve item I-5.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 4I-5.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6, discussion of possible action on approval of bids received for construction of the animal shelter as presented by Navholz Construction, manager, general contractor.
It's Navhol's representative here to answer any questions that council may have. Of course, this was included in the packet, in your packets. Right now, the bid stands at roughly little over 3.4 million for this facility. 736 a square foot. And basically, it's inflation has got the best of us on this. It actually increased just within the last 4 months when we looked at it, because they did well, no, y'all didn't do a mock bid or whatever, send it out or anything of that nature.
At our 100% budget, we did send it out to get a few bids for different trade packages, so.
And it has increased since then. That was about 3 or 4
Yep.
months ago.
Okay.
So that is where we're at. We have downsized this structure, right from the start because we were looking at 2.5 million, I believe, and I said, no, we can't go there. So we downsized, actually, cut the structure size almost in half in square footage. And the prices have went up that much.
We need to make a motion on this fast.
It's crawling by the minute, another dollar every minute.
So, I was thinking, I was thinking we'd already approved the bid, so we were updated on, I know, last month. I guess that's what I'm thinking, that you gave the updates and everything, but we were waiting for the final bid. I
The
mean,
formal bids, yes,
yeah, okay.
yeah. So that is the reason that it is on the agenda tonight. Because if council chooses and you want us to proceed forward with this, they're ready to send out contracts to these.
And what's the number? I can't remember what.
It's a little over 3.4.
3.416212.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Chris Rickman, Annapolis Construction, 6400 Superior Avenue, Oklahoma City. And again, as Kevin said, we did have a high level of participation with our bidders. All in all, I think we had about 68 bidders participate, which is good. Most of the main trades were covered very well, so we were excited about that. And, like we said the last time we were here, we still don't think it's gonna get any cheaper to build this than it is today. Even though we may hear news that commodities may be easing up and leveling off, we're not hearing that from our subcontractors yet. So we still think it's our opinion is still gonna be as cheap to build today than it would be in the future. So if you have any questions, I'm here and happy to answer any of those that you may have.
No, we just went up $5 while you talk, so.
Well, it's a significant investment, but it's a
Yeah.
significant long-term investment for the community.
Yeah, it's a staple. I mean,
Something that we're going to have. It's just a matter of what it's going to be like. And I think this gives us an opportunity for expansion in the future of this facility, built with that in mind. And so, it's something that we do outgrow it. We've made provisions to be able to add on to the west side of it and keep going. So, kind of hard to swallow.
It's very difficult to swallow for me, but, that's unfortunately, that's our economy today.
mhm. And we're just the size of city that we would need to have an indoor shelter and
Yeah.
get it going.
Well, and of course, there's nothing on here tonight about financing. We want to see whether or not you want us to move forward. We'll come back, of course, to, solicit financing or whatever it may be. But I also Gina and I have been discussing this heavily. And we have some thoughts on using some of the 30% funding, which we allowed for in the budget. We budgeted about $500,000. There's a potential that we could use a little bit more out of general fund to go toward this as well. That'll be council's decision, but instead of financing the entire amount, bring it down as much as we possibly can without hurting ourselves on our fund balances or anything of that nature, but also to limit the amount of monthly payment that we'd be paying toward this.
Well, that's a testimony to some of the good decisions we and the staff has made in managing our money, not, getting out of the unnecessary debts and then putting forth money ahead of time. So I think we have that to thank for our ability to do what you're just doing. It's going to offset some of this cost.
And now in the next few months, we're going to see a fire station that's probably going to come in closer to 10 million than not.
Could we vote on that tonight too?
And like Kevin said, we're going to be looking at a fairly aggressive water and sewer, or water especially, and wastewater expansion program starting next year too, so, like Councilman Reed said, we've been saving up for these things and trying to budget appropriately so that we would have the cash flow to service the debt associated with them, because we knew there were a lot coming our way. Over the next few months, year, we're gonna see a lot of big ticket items come through that will take the burden of having a large carryover away from us, I think. So, is there any public comment concerning this agenda item?
Make a motion to approve item 6.
Second.
Oh.
Oh, sorry, Mike.
Motion second for approval of item number 6.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Chris.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 7, discussion of possible action on recommendation of the planning commission. Item number 7A, planning hearing, discussion of possible action on an application for rezoning for E1 suburban estate residential to PUD planned unit development for Dale Christopher Reynolds and Angela K. Reynolds, located in the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter, section 7, township 8 north, range 3 west, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma. Property location, 2841 Southeast 44th Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma. Case number R 2022-010.
Just continue.
Continued by the planning commission at applicant's request. So there'll be no action on that agenda item. Item number 7B, public hearing, discussion, and possible action on an application for rezoning from E1 suburban estate residential to E2 urban estate residential for Barbara Cunningham and Ronnie Lee Walker, located in the northeast quarter of section 31, township 9 north, range 3 west, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma, and for adoption for ordinance number 926, property location 2500 Torrey Lane, Newcastle, Oklahoma, case number R 2022-014.
Good evening, council members. Janae Greenlee with the Planning Department. This request is to rezone from E1 Suburban Estate Residential District to E2 Urban Estate Residential District for property located at 2500 Torrey Lane. The request is made by the owners, Barbara Cunningham and Ronnie Lee Walker. To the north, you have E1, and to the east, E1, as well as to the south and to the west is A. There's been several previous approved rezonings in this area. The applicant is requesting this for a future possible warranty deed lot split. The acreage, they will meet the 1 acre requirement. This is the location here. From E1, you can see the existing zoning. They will front on Torrey Lane. So they have the lot frontage and they will meet the lot area requirement as well as the setbacks for this request. Planning staff does recommend approval, and Planning Commission as well made recommendation of a vote in favor 5-0. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the applicant's representative is here if you have additional questions.
Is that
as
down
well.
in Quail Run area? Is that where that?
It's off of Southeast 24th Street.
Okay.
Southeast.
Southeast?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Almost to the river.
Mm-hmm. As you can see, there's several E1 zoning designations here as well. And there is E2 over here. So several of these lots had previously been zoned ag and then went to the
And as I recall, there
state district.
were no concerns expressed
no, there was
according to that.
there was no protest.
Any public comment concerning this agenda item? Okay.
I don't have anything. I'll make a motion that we approve item B.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 7B.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 7C, discussion and possible action on adoption of the emergency clause of ordinance number 926.
Make a motion to approve item 7C.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 7C.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 7D, public hearing, discussion and possible action on an application for rezoning from A agriculture to E2 urban estate residential for Ronnie Lee Walker, located in the east half to north half northwest quarter of the northeast quarter of section 31, township 9 north, range 3 west, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma. And for adoption of ordinance number 927, property location 3168 Southeast 24th Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma. Case number R 2022-015.
This request is to rezone from A, general agricultural, to E2, urban estate residential for Ronnie Lee Walker at 3168 Southeast 24th Street. He owns a 5-acre tract there. The surrounding zoning to the north is ag, to the east E1, south is ag, and west is also ag. He's requesting to rezone to the E2 urban estate residential district as well to do a future lot split, possible lot split for a 1-acre tract. This is the location fronting on Southeast 24th Street. He does have access by a private drive on this, a private access drive off of Southeast 24th Street, and he will meet the setback requirements as well as the frontage requirements for this request. Planning staff does recommend and support this request for our 2022-015, and Planning Commission did recommend approval 5-0.
Any public comment concerning this agenda item? Yes, ma'am? Please approach the podium and state your name and address for the record. Comment?
Okay. They might be done, sorry. Pam Con, 2401 Oak Hollow Drive, Newcastle. I just have a question. She said there's no protest, so I just have a question. So is this just listed in the paper? Is that how people know about it, or how?
No. Any landowner or any owners around there are notified within a certain
Everyone
radius.
around there's, like, what is the radius?
300 feet.
300 feet? Okay, that's all I want to know. I just want to know, when she says no protest, I'm just like, were people really notified, or how are they notified?
Mhm.
So 300 feet, that's not very far. That's
Well, there's
okay.
kind of a formula to it too, actually. So
What?
it could be.
They have to notify it within 300 feet, 15 property owners, and it goes up 100-foot increments until you get that 15.
So you have to
Minimum
notify
15.
15, okay,
And it also is advertised in the paper.
in the paper. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Any other public comment? All right.
Ready for a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion to approve agenda item 7D.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 7D.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 7E, discussion of possible action on adoption of the emergency clause, ordinance number 927.
Motion to approve agenda item 7E.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 7E.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 7F, public hearing, discussion and possible action on an application for use permitted on review for a special use permit for Newcastle Public Schools, aka Independent School District Number 1 of McLean County, Verizon Wireless, for the use of placement of a telecommunications tower located in the southwest quarter of section 14, township 9 north, range 4 west, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma. Property location 298 Northeast 2nd Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma. Case number UPOR 2022-003.
This request is made by Newcastle Public Schools for Verizon Wireless, will be the operator at 298 Northeast 2nd Street. It's a 10,000 square foot cell tower pad site. They do meet the requirement of the setbacks in the A district, and this is a use permitted on review underneath that general agricultural zoning district. So to the north you have ag, but it is Newcastle Public Schools. To the east as well, ag and Newcastle Public Schools. And to the south, ag, which is also their property. And to the west, CC2, Community Commercial District, and City Hall is to the west. The applicant has fulfilled all the requirements for the commercial cell tower and has submitted all the landscape and site plans as well as their access plans to that site. The applicant, I will go to so this is where the proposed pad site is located. During Planning Commission, we had one gentleman speak to if there were going to be lights on that tower. There is not going to be lights on that tower. He was worried about overflow lighting to the properties to the south, because he's a star watcher, astronomer, and so he didn't want any interference with that. The applicant stated, no, there will not be lights on that tower. Planning staff does make recommendation, and planning commission recommended 5-0.
What is the height on that tower?
The height is 150 feet, right?
That's why I don't need lights.
There's no guy wires.
This doesn't
It'll
concern
be
me,
an
but
enclosed-
a 10,000 square feet pad site, how big is that? Is that 300?
100 by 100, and that's the leased area.
I should have done that math quickly.
He doesn't do that.
The leased, the Verizon leased area is 100 by 100.
Okay.
The compound is only 60 by 60.
Yeah, okay.
So they have the landscaping in between the compound and inside the lease area.
We should have done that math faster and I would have known that, but, okay, thank you.
They want to see you take your shoes off.
I grew up in Marlow, Oklahoma. We didn't do math, we did arithmetic.
That's right, present this.
Yeah.
Is there any public comment concerning this agenda item?
Sorry, I misrepresented the city so poorly. I'll make a motion to approve item, I lost my place,
7F.
7F.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 7F.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 8, discussion and possible action on approval of applications for drilling additional oil and gas wells on existing well sites previously approved by the City of Newcastle for EOG Resources, Inc. and McMurtry Management Investments, LLC owner. Item number 8A, 6.26 acre tract located in Section 7, Township 9 North, Range 4 West, McLean County, Oklahoma. Property address 3610 Northwest 24th Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma. Nighthawk Warhawk pad site for the Warhawk 06314H POR 2022-004.
This item, A and B, I know that they're separate, but basically this is an application for 2 new wells on a previously approved well site and pad site on 6.26 acres. Notification by our ordinance went out to the surrounding property owners and just comes before city council for approval for the new wells. They have submitted their official truck route. They have the permits from the Corporation Commission, their production site. They have their disposal methods and their road lease agreement has been paid. They're gonna, the official truck route will come from State Highway 76 and to Northwest 24th and go 0.5 miles on Northwest 24th Street and enter the well site. The disposal methods, they also have the sound barriers right there already existing, and they have the contact list. Everything that's required by our ordinance has been submitted. I will go to the location map, so here's the pad site here. Both of these were made recommendation by planning staff, and planning commission made recommendation 5-0 for approval as well. And EOG representatives are here if you have additional questions.
Any public comment concerning this agenda item? We've numerous wells on this particular location, so we've gone to great lengths over the permitting process of those previous wells to nail down the requirements for not only the well site, but the noise control of the noise, including mufflers, systems on their compressors utilized in the gas lift process. So we've done a lot for this particular location. So if anybody has any questions, we'll definitely address those.
So this activity will be bound to follow all of those. We approved for that well site. So this activity will be governed by all those same agreements.
That's my understanding.
That UPOR, yes,
Mhm.
the UPOR.
That UPOR, so. So, and I'm not concerned that they would, but I mean, if citizens were wondering if they come in with different processes, different type of compressors or anything like that, I mean, I don't know, we dictated the compressor type anyway, did we?
And we can't tell them what type of
Right,
equipment
of course.
they have to use. So, I mean, Jason and Todd are here as well, so I mean, if there's any questions, you need to ask them that one.
Well, my main point was we established the requirements for the site,
Yes, sir.
so, all right, that answers my question.
Any other council comment?
I guess I know that we're putting up the sound barrier walls again, which is probably the containers again. Is that
Yeah,
what?
they never left that location. We've never taken them off there.
Okay. I know that some of the neighbors have complained about noise back in there.
Yeah, I think the compressor's back in the back.
Is there any,
Only complaints I've ever had.
are we gonna add more compressors to that, in that same location?
We won't add any more than what's been there in the past.
Please state your name and address.
Jason Boykin, EOG Resources. We won't add any more compressors than what have previously been there. The walls are still standing from the compressors,
Right,
so we won't change anything.
okay. I mean, I know we've been discussing this noise stuff
Yes, sir.
for a while, and that's what the only thing I'm curious about is,
Yeah, the walls are still there for
So-
the compressors.
mhm.
Those are actual walls, built walls.
So Jason, I couldn't hear real well, are you saying you will not need to add any additional compressors?
No, sir, not what's previously been there.
Okay.
We've had 2 or 3 compressors on that location, it won't change. The
Okay.
walls are still there, even though one of the compressors, I believe, has been moved. But if we had to move one back in, it would stay exactly the same.
Okay,
Nothing more, nothing less.
all right.
How many wells can you run off one compressor, just out of curiosity?
The volumes, I'd hate to be guessing at that. I can find out for you.
Okay, I'm
It's
just
a
curious.
volumes deal, it's just trying to get it to the main
That-
compressor station.
That does help me because I think some of us were the impression every well
I'll be honest,
required
I was
more.
under the impression, like,
So-
gee,
No.
but-
No,
No.
it's a volumes deal, so the volumes have dropped on that pad over time, so you've got capacity in there. So we may not have to add anything than what was previously there from the original startup, just depends.
There's still a potential there this will make 15 wells on that pad?
I counted 13, but I could be off.
This will make total 2 more.
It's 2 more.
Yeah.
Is it 15 or 13?
I thought we already had
Thank you.
13 out there, but.
They're numbered.
Well, we
somewhere.
have some that we never drilled permanent wells.
Okay, well, yeah,
Okay.
but a total of 19 can go on the pad, that's what we were told before.
Yeah, if you drilled it completely.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the EOG representatives?
I think that answered mine.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Would you each one of these one at a time?
Yep, we're just on item 8A currently.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we accept item 8A.
Second?
Motion second for approval of item number 8A.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jim Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 8B, 6.26 acre tract located in section 7, township 9 north, range 4 west, McLean County, Oklahoma, property address 3610 Northwest 24th Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma. Nighthawk Warhawk pad site for the Warhawk 06315H UPR 2022-005. Public comment concerning this agenda item? Okay,
This is the same pad, just the second
same
one we're
pad,
talking
just
about?
another hole.
Okay. Motion approved into item 8B.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 8B.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jim Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Thank you very much. Item number 9, discussion and possible action on approval of ordinance number 928, adopting modifications of ward boundaries in the city of Newcastle. We approved it, but we did not didn't have the ordinance
You
reflecting
approved the
approval.
resolution.
Okay.
So now we have, it's what we approved, what we agreed to, so.
So nothing's changed, it's just
Nothing's
the same
changed.
new little areas we.
So same little
Same
tweaks.
legals.
Same legals.
Aye. Well, then, you want a motion then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, motion to approve agenda item 9.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 9.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White, yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 10, discussion of possible action on adoption of the emergency clause of ordinance number 928.
Motion to approve agenda item 10.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 10.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White, yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 11, discussion of possible action on resolutions adopting emergency plans and procedures for the city of Newcastle. Item number 11A, resolution number 2022-10 for adoption of emergency standard operating guidelines.
All of these are just updated plans. Basically, we've had these plans in place, but they've been updated. Some have been revised a little bit. Donnie's been working hard on these and also working with the state to get everything put in place.
All right.
I'm gonna have to run them all out for you to sign. They're that thick, there's
That's fine,
resolutions.
And we saw these last month.
No, it was different things last month.
Do you?
Emergency operations plan was last month. Next year, these will all be put together. I'm sorry. The
Oh,
emergency
okay.
operations plan, we had to rush for the state last month.
Okay, say that one more time. What are the two? What was the last one?
Emergency operations plan, EOP.
And this is it, and this is SOP,
Yes,
SOG.
correct.
All right, well, what little I saw looked the same, but, and it has a lot of detail on it, but I like what I saw. I'll make a motion to approve item 11.
11A.
You gotta do it
Oh.
all.
11A, yeah.
Get ready, buckle up.
I'll do 11A.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 11A.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 11B, resolution 2022-11 for adoption of community and Newcastle Public Schools tornado shelter operations plan.
Motion to approve agenda item 11B.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 11B.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White, yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. 11C, resolution number 2022-12 for adoption of City of Newcastle evacuation plan.
Motion to approve agenda item 11C.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 11C.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White, yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. 11D, resolution 2022-13 for adoption of debris management plan.
Motion to approve agenda item 11D.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 11D.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 11E, resolution 2022-14 for adoption of disaster donation plan.
Motion to approve agenda item 11E.
Second.
Motion approval for item number 11E.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 11F, resolution 2022-15 for adoption of disaster volunteer plan.
Motion to approve agenda item 11F.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 11F.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 11G, resolution number 2022-16 for adoption of hazardous weather operations plan.
Motion to approve agenda item 11G.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 11G.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes.
Brief comment, Mayor, if I may?
Yes, sir.
Although I kind of made light of the length of it and everything like that. Going through these reminded me, we went through the tornado, how many years ago? 6 or 7?
2013.
2013. And so many of these things being in place and well documented is a very good thing. We probably had some back then, but I know the donations, the volunteer, the things really was a good opportunity to review that, so appreciate
And
it.
one of the problems we ran into actually with that was the debris management plan.
Mhm.
We did not have one in place for that, and we almost didn't get reimbursed
Right.
for our efforts on that.
Yeah.
So,
And kudos to you, Kevin, for your staff doing
keeping
that.
up with this now.
Donnie's taking care of things for us.
Absolutely.
Go Donnie,
Thank you,
go.
sir.
Go Donnie, go.
All right, item number 12, discussion and possible action on approval of scope and fee proposal dated November 2nd, 2022, presented by Guernsey for the Newcastle Sports Complex.
So we received that grant finally. Everything's been awarded. We're ready to move on the sports complex. Jeanette and I met with Guernsey Engineering to discuss the plan, the engineering for the original sports complex. But then also we spoke with them regarding the expansion of that complex on the property we just purchased from Mr. Owen, which will roll into a master plan, overall master plan for that property. I believe this portion here is strictly for the original?
Right.
Okay. So, and then the master plan will follow as but we need to get this one rolling for we do have enough funding to cover it all. However, the grant won't cover the master plan and the other 26 acres because it wasn't part of the original grant
Right,
that we turned in.
to start.
Yes.
It is a start. Very good.
Okay, is that all? Do you have anything else? Because I can make a motion.
Believe
No.
We're good.
Okay, motion approved, agenda item 12.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 12.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 13, discussion of possible action to approve memorandum of understanding with the city of Tuttle to make an application for a municipal road drilling activity fund 7525 matching grant with ODOT in the amount of $274,300 to overlay County Line Road beginning at Highway 37 and ending 1 mile north at Tyler Road.
This is for the oil and gas road drilling, of course, the funding that they have set aside now for roads that are impacted by rigs and things of that nature. Tuttle actually has this on their agenda tonight as well in their council meeting. So we want to get this on here. They after speaking with the city manager over there, he and his public works superintendent are on board. They're just waiting to get approval from their council. And this, of course, we would submit for the grant. Jeanette's already written this grant. And I believe it can be turned in just about any time, but we want to get it in as quick as possible. And then they would split the 25% matching cost share with us if we are awarded.
Kevin, is that agenda item correct?
Why is it not?
I thought I changed it.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
So, long story short, if we get the grant approved, we'll be responsible for 12.5% of this $274,000
Pretty
figure.
significant
That's pretty good.
savings.
It's about a little over $34,000.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve item 13.
I'll second.
Motion second for approval of item number 13.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 14, discussion of possible action to approve memorandum of understanding with City of Blanchard to make an application for municipal road drilling activity fund 7525 matching grant with ODOT in the amount of $276,700 to overlay County Line Road beginning at the H.E. Bailey Turnpike and extending south for a distance of approximately 1 mile.
So Blanchard had this on their agenda on the 8th. I'm not sure if their council approved it or not. But it's the same situation, just South County line instead of North County line. 12.5% cost to Newcastle, 12.5% to Blanchard. And we will be writing that grant as well and submitting it.
If you guys can remember, just in the last year, we worked with Tuttle on a half mile from 37 south.
Yep.
And then we went another mile and a half
Mile and a half.
south where it was our responsibility on County Line, we overlaid. So we did 2 miles of overlay down there. Now, this will leave a gap between Fox Lane, basically, and the turnpike that is the Grady County's responsibility. And I don't know what is ever gonna happen with whether we can get them along, but This will start on, just on the south side of the turnpike and go a mile south, so this will finish up our responsibility on County Line Road, south of Highway 37.
That's a pretty short gap there though, between Fox and the turnpike, right?
We got a mile
One
on it.
mile,
Isn't
almost.
it a mile? That's longer than,
So,
bad memory.
you know, it's got a oil and chip over a bunch of patches. I mean, it's not horrible, but this will make a very nice road, County Line, down, and then Blanchard wanted to include another half mile or a little bit more south
Oh, of
in
course
this
they did.
application. That's their responsibility, but we can't make application for a grant
Oh,
for
okay.
anything that's not our responsibility. So I anticipate they'll be hopefully getting that next, little section that's their responsibility done as well
Good.
at some point in time, so.
So we felt good about that they probably approved it though, like we didn't have. Because if
I'm
they
not
don't approve it,
guaranteeing
then
We'll see.
does the whole thing fall apart?
Yeah, I mean, unless we wanted to take on the whole thing and shell out $68,000.
They just
So,
need
And
to say yes.
we do have residents down there,
we do.
but
Yeah, you know, we met with Grady County, Blanchard, Tuttle, and, a few years ago. We've all got differing responsibilities at County Line. So we made a plan and we split it up as to who was gonna have responsibility for what. So we're trying to get all of ours done that we're responsible
Good.
for. We're just having a little bit of trouble getting everybody else to come along with us.
Grady County being one.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to get it done for not a lot of money. So, it's definitely something we would love to have happen.
And this is the money that came from the oil.
They took money that was going to the general fund from the oil and gas industry and gross production taxes,
That was
and allocated a very small little bit of it back to cities, to this fund to help cities.
and it's a grant we're applying for, so it's not a sure thing, but we're pretty optimistic.
Correct.
Okay. I make a motion, we approve item 14.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 14.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes,
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 15, discussion of possible action on establishing speed limits at 35 mile per hour on the following streets, except in locations where the current speed limit is less than 35 mile per hour. Item number 15A, Southwest 24th Street from Highway 62 to County Line Road.
So all of these roadways, I sent out the street department, had them do a survey of each of these roads, from 62 all the way to County Line to see what our speed limits were, where they were located, things of that nature. Most areas, the majority of areas on these east-west roads are 35. However, we do have some 45-mile-an-hour areas along these roads that should not be 45 just due to the narrowness of the roadway and the hills of the topography out there. And again, it's my recommendation that we do take these roads down to 35 mile an hour, just to help prevent hopefully some accidents out there, which we've had on some of these roadways.
But Kevin, I've been thinking about this. I didn't know this was gonna come up, a few weeks ago when I thought about this, but, what you described for a country club and then what you're describing here would really apply for like 24th Street all the way from 62 to 76.
That's what's on here.
That's on here, that's
To
just County
76?
Line.
All the way to
Oh,
County
All the way
Line.
to County Line, both
Yeah.
sides of 76.
Oh, the county line.
Yeah.
My mind went to country club. Okay. So all the way to county line.
Yes.
So that would, where that really, we have a lot of our residents asking for 24th Street to be reduced. So that would
Especially
do,
west of Country
that would
Which
do
Club.
24th?
Yeah.
Northwest,
Northwest,
yeah.
yeah, northwest. Okay.
I see, I'm getting the total opposite, at least on the stretch of 24th from 62 to Country Club, because it's wide open, there's absolutely nothing there. Now,
Yes.
you go further, you keep going further west, the road tightens up, there's hills, there's trees, it's gonna probably be ugly with that stretch. Although I hear what the resident spoke earlier about Country Club, but I live right there, and I've seen a lot of wrecks on that bridge, and I was not here last month when they voted for it, but I don't have heartburn over that because it's actually very dangerous. My husband saw the gentleman that works at the post office completely I mean, he was hurt pretty bad and out of it completely because somebody came off that bridge too fast and hit him. And that's, my husband lost a mirror on that bridge, and he's the most careful driver ever. That stretch of road on Country Club, I support fully from on Country Club. But I have the worst heartburn over the piece from 62 to Country Club, going from the 45 to 35. There's just nothing there. I don't know.
I live on Southwest 24th, and.
I'm sorry, I'm speaking northwest.
This is northwest.
Sorry,
Oh, okay.
speaking northwest. Southwest,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
hilly, yes.
I see that too. Of all these that are proposed on here, that's the least hilly.
It is. It's a flat stretch. You also have to remember they're approaching that overpass, that S-curve overpass right now.
They are. And but it does reduce to 25 there on the, it's reduced to 25. And people, I mean, that's where people have the most trouble is going 25 on those bridges, but they're very dangerous. Like, I drive both of them multiple times
Yeah.
every day. They're dangerous. And I wish we had the money to replace the other one too, but we just don't right now. But that's the stretch, Northwest 24th. I would love to keep that, even if we're gonna have to do something, take it to 40 instead of 35, because that's the tough one. The other ones, I know exactly what you mean. My parents used to live off of Southwest 24th right there, or 16th and 24th. They were between them. And yeah, it's tight and there's trees and it's hilly. But that one stretch, I think, is.
Thinking the larger question we think about as a city is, what process are we using to make these decisions? Because whatever we do, how do you say no to someone in a different location who wants to change? I mean, I know it's up to us to change, but, you know, to make sure we're using a process that is kind of, not, you know, not only logical, but I guess scientific to some extent, that may be not the right term. And let me throw one other thing out, and I'll say, as a prelude to this, we are not more, we're not trying to become more, we don't want to be like more necessarily, but I observed in Moore, some streets very similar to ours in rural, kind of rural areas, and they've all selected 40 mile an hour.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure I'm ready to propose that, I'm just saying, that our change from 45 to 35, I enjoy the safety feature of it, but I noticed too, like, well, that's kind of a big change. So, and I don't know if I want to get into 25, 35, and 40, but 40 mile an hour would also be something to consider that would slow it down a little bit and not take it all the way down to 35. 35 is real good for, you know, for residential streets. And yet we have so many section line roads that if we reduce them down to 35, you know, is that where we want to end up, or will we have to change back, you know, a few months from now?
I mean, and just to kind of grab on the back end of that, Oklahoma City does a lot of 40 miles an hour, even on their new 4-lane with turn lanes.
Yeah.
It's 40 miles an hour. I know, like, I take Northwest 150th every day, and it's 40 miles an hour, and it's a 4-lane road, curb and gutter, you know. Very easily could have been higher, but it's 40 miles an hour.
Our section line roads are our main thoroughfares, and yet some of those section line roads are narrow and hilly.
In some of our city streets.
So I'm really open to some reduced speeds on there. But just to,
And I can go with 40, and I do agree with Marcy on the stretch on 24th Street. One of the things we do have to remember if we're going to compare ourselves to Oklahoma City and more is they're starting out on their section line roads with a 66-foot statutory right-of-way. They can build a little bit wider pavement, have room for drainage, have room for utilities,
Right.
and have a little, you know, they've got an additional 33 feet to deal with than we do when they build their section line roads. So, you know, our roads are therefore narrower than the ones you'll find north of the river. And with that narrowness, there is a safety factor, and people, you know, I know I've heard oftentimes people mention in the community that we need to get in there, we need to widen our roads. Well, we try, but we have a large hesitancy on our citizens wanting to give additional right-of-way to the city to widen those roads. So we're pretty much stuck with narrower roads, and And I can go with the 40 mile hour. I'm personally okay with that on the section lines, but there is a difference between our roads and those north of the river.
Yes,
That's
and
fair.
the point I would make with that is that the streets I was talking about over in Moore, though, they chose 40 instead of 45. You know, they saw the need to lower it down, even if, regardless how wide they are. So I like 40 better than 45, but I really agree that we have some streets that need to be mitigated, that probably need to be reduced. And 24th Street, well, a lot of those, over those hills between Country Club and 76 are pretty dangerous.
I know-
Now, they also have, excuse me, also we have a stop sign now on Rockwell at 24th Street. So, you know, we're already telling people to slow down a little bit, get ready for that stop sign. So I think a slower speed there, I'm open to it. Just food for thought. I wasn't ready to make a proposal as to what the speed limit should be. I just, and I'm rambling on that, I promise I'll stop, but what I don't know about street, speed, limits and zone change, speed limit changes, would you ever want to have to go down from 40 to 35? Is that a ridiculous reduction, or is that still feasible? Or if you wanted to get down to 25, are you required to go to 35 first and then to 25? If you were at 40, if 40 mile an hour speed limits, would that be more difficult to reduce down to 25 than?
Well, I think part of them we need to look at, and comes from the engineering side of me, I believe, is first off, our horizontal alignment. What does it look like? Is it changing? Is it moving the road? No, we're all in a straight path on these section line roads.
Right.
Except for where the crossing over the turnpike.
Yeah.
And then vertical curves in our sags. Those are really controlling factors of speed. You know, can you see, traveling at speed, you have that constant eyesight where you can see that distance, for that stopping distance. If there's something comes out in the road, a vehicle pulls out, all these justifications have to be met. And I know a lot of our verticals change in our roads are pretty low speeds. I mean, even though got them up high, even though we're at 45 right now. So that might be something to take into consideration, when we're doing our studies, the vertical changes. I guess the theory is that you're supposed to be able to see the top of the hill as you're coming up slowly so that you can have like that 1 to 2 seconds to hit your brakes. If somebody was to pull out in front of you or a kid pulls out in front of you.
Questions I've been getting, my ears are ringing from them, but that's okay, I can handle it, are what the determining factors were. So you mentioned some, and then since I was gone the last meeting, what I read was they've done a study on how many cars are going by daily on these roads.
Traffic counts. Yes.
Right. And then when I was asked about accidents, I'm like, you want me to start listing them? Because I'll start with our own family and tell you what all the ones are that I know of in our own family. Then we'll go from there. Like, not that was my family complaining, but accidents, traffic count, I'm just confirming to make sure I understand what we're using as so I can
Right.
repeat that when asked.
Yes, and those are the two primary, yes.
Okay. I would love to, I'm not opposed to going down from 45 at all. I would love, as people mentioned, to go to 40 instead of 35, and then maybe look at it again as density increases, because we know it is, and then see if we need to go to 35 on these on a as-needed basis, depending on what happens, but that's just my thought.
It's all based upon science, on the change of elevation with the speed of the traffic.
Meaning, depending on which road do you think might or might not benefit from that?
Yes.
And your thoughts on each of these four are?
I haven't looked at the vertical
I just didn't know, I didn't know if you
Yeah.
had something in mind specifically.
No.
Because
I
I
would
don't
love-
think
I'd
like
love
you do
to-
on that,
I'd
so
love
that's
for
very
us to-
interesting.
To look at the vertical allowance in them and see
I know,
how they,
which one
what
is
fails
it?
and what
16th
doesn't,
or 24th,
you know, and what passes, the speeds.
16th is the one I'm really thinking of, has some pretty good, is that the one you were thinking of, or were you thinking of 24th Southwest?
24th has some good ones.
24th, yeah. I mean, they do, so,
16th does too, 16th is kind of curvy. They're both, they,
yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I know we're slowing down on some of the curves like 16th Street as you go further west and approach the turnpike there.
I really thought 24th was already 35 miles an hour.
Southwest,
Yeah.
isn't?
Parts of it, I
Well,
think, is,
and-
isn't it?
And I think he stated that some of the streets are 35, so.
Right. Some more 35. I don't see increasing them that are already at 35,
Right.
but I think if we had, I think some of them could benefit from 40 though.
I think, portions of that Southwest 24th are 35, but not all the way to County Line Road.
Gotcha.
But, and I could support the decision we made last month, but I'd also be open to making Country Club 40. It's a main line road, and we're leaving at 45 for the last half mile, but I could support either one on that.
Everything on Southwest 24th is 35 with the exception of 76 to County Line,
Okay.
which is not our jurisdiction.
Oh,
That's Blanchard.
So it's all 35.
Yeah.
okay.
Everything is 35. So, and that just dawned on me. We just go to Oak Hollow. We don't even go to 76. They take over at Oak Hollow and go west from there.
Okay.
Maintenance and everything.
And
So,
we don't have an appetite to change that,
No.
to increase that at all. No, I'm not gonna increase it.
so there'll be no action on item number 15A, what you're telling me.
Is that one Southwest 24th?
Mhm.
Yes.
That's correct, yes.
All right, so item number 15B, Southwest 16th from Highway 62 to County Line.
No action.
No action.
It's 35.
It's already 35.
Awesome.
There'll be no action on that agenda item. Item number 15C, Northwest 16th from Highway 62 to County Line.
So Country Club to Rockwell is 45, Rockwell to 76 is 45, and 76 to County Line is 45 on Northwest 16th.
And that does include a turnpike over.
That's correct.
Crossing.
Mhm.
And that's where we have had a wreck before.
Well, that one's reduced, they're all reduced, those turnpike crossings are all reduced to 25 before and until a good distance after it, right?
Even on 16th Street?
I'm pretty
I hadn't,
sure they
I hadn't
are.
even noticed.
Yeah, as you're approaching the bridge, yes.
Yeah, and that's, I firmly support that, like, I don't know who thought back in the day to build those things so narrow, but they scare me to death.
Well, you had two cars traveling it.
Do what?
You had two cars traveling back
It's
in
a good squeeze with
1965.
two.
Well, they both
I
run-
don't even know how they can farm equipment across it in 65. I thought of that too. I'm like, geez, even the farm equipment can barely squeeze across this.
Don't get
one
Carl
at a time.
started.
No.
But
Well,
no, I
Patrick
mean,
learned
it's, I don't
big.
know what they, I know it was probably money, but, I don't, so,
So 16th is currently 45? All
for,
that-
From Country Club
unless
to
it's
County Line
25.
Country
Yeah.
Club to County Line.
It's 45 unless it's 25 for,
at the bridge.
at the bridge,
So
That's
from
Southwest 16th.
Country Club,
northwest,
from Country
Okay,
Club to
northwest.
62, what speed?
40.
35.
Country Club.
62 to Country Club is 35.
Right now? No. 62, wait, you're at
On
northwest
16th Street.
16.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's already 35,
Yeah.
okay. Wow.
and then it goes, so, okay, so then, on that one, then there are parts that are 45, just not from 62 to Country Club, then, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, most of it
Okay.
is 45.
Are we open to a proposal for 15C to move it to 40 where it's 45? Because I would make that motion. Where it's 45 to change it to 40.
I'll tell you, I'm shooting from the hip. I mean, I haven't thought through this. I don't know if staff would think about it. I mean, I'd like to hear from you all and law enforcement. I mean, I don't.
I have spoke with the police chief. Of course, the lower the better for him.
Yeah,
But I would also think about consistency, since we do have this many roads
yeah,
that are 35 for that distance,
right.
rather than going to 40. And yes, we have traffic counts, yes, we have accidents. My biggest deal is those, and as the mayor said earlier, those roads are just not wide enough. And the hills, especially as you get up north
Right.
and heading out west, it seems to be a little bit worse this direction than it is south, as far as the hills and narrowness of the road.
And we've asked ODOT not to make their decisions based on wrecks and fatalities that have occurred.
We wanted to try to prevent those. from
Yeah,
occurring.
I mean,
Yeah, we did ask.
sorry to be, I'm not trying to be
Wait, say we
facetious.
asked, no.
We asked ODOT on
Well.
76 to lower it.
And that-
In other words, let's don't wait for the accidents before we lower the speed limit.
Right. Well, and thinking about this too, think about Highway 130. We've had two of the worst wrecks there in the last year or
Yeah.
two
Mhm.
at 45 mile an hour.
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
you know,
I agree with you. I would rather settle on some consistent speeds rather than up and down.
Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah,
little bit confusing.
All right.
So, But
Carl,
I'm not, well, let me take public comment in a minute, Gordon.
Okay.
I think, I agree with you on the consistency, but I'm definitely also open to carving out areas of these where we really think it's flat enough and straight enough that, it would warrant maybe leaving the 45. I mean, I'm okay with that as well. Man, those, especially, I mean, you get some of those areas like Northwest 24th, and once you get west of Country Club, you know, I just cringe meeting somebody on one of those hills about every time I drive them.
Yeah.
Because they are, you know, those are some things that if you're both going 45 or 50 along there, that's not so good because it is narrow, but,
So 16th, so if we're on C, 16th would be, would you remind us what the current speed limits are?
yes, 62 to Country Club is 35. And then from Country Club all the way out to the county line is 45, with the exception of the overpass.
And the proposal would be to change those 2 miles back down to 35.
Correct.
actually 3 miles.
3 miles, yeah.
To county line.
All the way to county line? Okay.
All right, any public comment concerning this agenda item?
If I could, just to clarify a couple things, on 16th Street, since that's what you're talking about right now. The section you're talking about, that's pretty straight level until you get over to the overpass. And the 24th overpass, I know, goes 35, 25, and then as you come off, you get 1/8 of a mile, and it comes up to 35 and then goes to 45. But 24th Street, the segment from Country Club to 76 is 35. The city reduced that a number of years ago.
Halfway to 76, not all the way. And then it jumps to 45. And this is according to our street department. They went out and collected all this for me.
They missed it, because it's marked 35 from Rockwell, from Country Club to Rockwell's 35.
Yes.
From Rockwell to 76, it's 35.
And that's where they say halfway it's 35, and then it jumps to 45 before you get to 76.
I don't recall there being a sign saying that, but maybe that's what it is. But everybody, I mean, when it was reduced, the thought was it reduced all the way to 76, and then I think it's from 76 to county line, it's 45. but
Yes.
I'm not certain.
Yeah.
So that segment, that has one hill in it that, I mean, it's not bad, as far as hilly, but the segment from county line to 130, or at least past the creek there, I mean, once you get up over that, up out of the creek bottom, it is level there again. And
You didn't mean to say 130, did you?
no, I didn't. I
Okay.
meant to say 76.
70, okay.
But it's already been reduced for a long period of time from Country Club. And the other thing I just throw out, I mean,
the area from Country Club to 62 is flat and level until you get to the corner or the S-curve for the bridge, and that is marked down, and everybody pretty well slows down for those. The worst thing about those, and I think we proved it, was if they had the center line marked on them, we'd have a lot less wrecks on the bridge. But I still stop and let traffic clear.
I do as
And
well.
that's just about what you'd better do. But that segment, if you're not gonna change it, I'd leave it, I'd leave it alone is what I'd do, but if you're gonna change it, it ought to go to 35, so it's a consistent all the way across there, just because it's not gonna make that much difference other than irritate people for a while.
I know quite a few folks on 16th that have contacted me on, just west of 76, and they said the cars out, it's just too dang
Blow by.
fast.
West of 76,
Yeah.
in that last mile section.
Yeah, 76 to county line.
The problem I see a lot of times is people just traveling too fast, period. They're even traveling
That's true.
10
That's
miles over,
absolutely true.
15 miles over the marked speed.
Well, and if they're gonna break the speed limit, they're gonna break it. It doesn't matter what it's
Right,
costing.
right.
Well, typically, doesn't NODOT expect people to drive
10 miles
25 and 5 and 10 miles over? And I think the police department has pretty well broke people from doing that on 24th Street between Country Club and Rockwell at least.
Yeah.
And
Sitting in the bottom there.
yeah, and I drive that a lot, and I don't see people speeding there, because it needed to come down a long time ago, and I'm pretty consistently, you don't need people going too fast there, but I just want to throw out, that section's already there, and probably the consistency, I agree with what Gene said, if you're gonna have 45, let's leave them at 45 rather than playing down 5 mile an hour, because I don't think that gets us anywhere.
All right, any other public comment concerning this agenda item?
Probably just to reiterate some of what he said. But I go down Northwest 16th every day, and it's 25, 35, 45 to Country Club. And then from then on, I think it's 35, 45 the rest of the way, I don't know, but that's flat. That's flat, that's all flat right there on Northwest 16th. Northwest 24th has the bridge, like she said. I don't really know what that speed limit is because I don't use that road. Southwest 24th is 35 from Highway 62 all the way to Oak Hollow. Southwest 16th is 35 from Highway 62 all the way to Country Club, and past that, I agree, it should be 35 because that's a real winding road. But I just wanted to clarify that Northwest 16th and Northwest 24th probably should stay what they are, because just like Country Club, they're flat. You know, except for that bridge, and like she said, the speed limit on Country Club over the bridge and the speed limit on Northwest 24th goes slower. It goes 35, then 25 over the bridge. So I just want to say that about Northwest 16th though, because it's 25, 35, because you know you've got the doctor's office there and some other businesses, and right there it's 35. Then as soon as you go past that, it goes to 45. To Country Club, and I don't know what it is after Country Club, heading west, and I don't know how far jurisdiction is. It's just
County line.
all the way to county line, this side of Southwest 24th. Okay.
Any additional public comment concerning this agenda item?
I would just kind of reiterate too that, and it's council's call, absolutely. I would reiterate though that most of our roadways with the 33 feet statutory right of way, most of our roadways at maximum are 21 feet driving surface. A lot of areas you may only get 20 feet total driving surface.
Some of them might be narrower than that.
So
And,
this is something to think about.
and these roads have very little escape shoulder.
Some of them don't have any.
Yeah.
No.
And, I tell you, it feels really rural when you're driving out on these streets, and because we have a city that feels very rural, and people do have a tendency to feel like they should be able to go at a faster speed, but our population is not going to decrease. It's getting more. More of these acreages are going to be coming, just as we had tonight, asking to put more homes on them. So I think the traffic is going to continue to grow, increase. So
And if you guys wanna table these and look at them next month and get a map we can look at that's got it all more detailed out, if that would help council.
I would love that.
That would help me. I really am supporting the idea, but I'd like for us to think about, we've had so many, I've had many people talking about lowering speed limits, very few. So I'm kind of glad to hear, hey, there are people out there who say, hey,
Is there,
you know,
is there a possibility of having our engineer give us a breakdown like on the vertical curves of the roads? Where it can be, what, using.
I'm gonna drive them.
shuttle.
There's a.
Marcy let us know.
There's a program that can
Go
use.
as fast as you
for
can, see what's like.
profiles.
I can absolutely try. He is covered up with other things right now, but we can absolutely look at it.
I just like being able to say we have an engineer now, that's exciting. It's still exciting.
Well, I hate to add to his task, but
Yeah, we can,
I think it'd be well worth it to look at the K values of the.
Another
For the
spot,
road.
I think that we're really hinging on having some big problems, or we already do, but and I don't think we have any say in this, so you guys know I'm not the road person like Mike, so just tell me if I'm wrong, but blowing through the stoplight at Country Club and 37, and just coming through there at 75 miles an hour through that, whether it's green or red, I mean, they are flying through there. Like, I would love to see our police watching that pretty tight, because it's scary. And I know there's a lot of accidents there, and that's why. Like, those people coming from the west
Oh.
are just, from the west. We have people from the west, Mike Fullerton. But it's scary. I never go with my light screen until I look, because
Oh, yeah.
I do not trust that intersection. And it's highly visible. It's not like you can't see.
people
You
still,
can see.
they're mad it's there and they're just not gonna.
Exactly. Like, I would love to see our police kind of crack down on that, for sure.
Well, we will take no action on items number 15, C and D. We'll address those at a future council meeting. Item 16, discussion of possible action on adoption of resolution number 2022-17, approving application and project sponsorship by the city of Newcastle, no less than 20% of matching funds for a transportation alternatives program application and maintenance commitment.
This is ready to go, and council had actually approved us going for this grant, but the resolution wasn't done. So we're just needing the resolution to go along with the grant application.
What was this one for? I forgot.
Sidewalks on Northwest 10th.
Ah, okay,
And
that's what I
lighting.
was thinking. Okay. I can make a motion to approve agenda item 16.
Second.
Motion is second for approval of item number 16.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Jean Reed?
Yes.
Marcy White?
Yes.
Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 17, discussion of possible action on approval of interlocal cooperative agreement between Newcastle Public Schools and the city of Newcastle for construction and maintenance of walking/bike trails.
This is the connection trail that would come off of our trail over here on the south side of 10th Street and connect to the sidewalk that is out here in front of the softball, baseball complex, where there'd be a continuous walkway.
Okay, motion to approve agenda item 17.
Second.
Motion is second for approval of item number 17.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Jean Reed?
Yes.
Marcy White?
Yes.
Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 18, discussion of possible action on approval of calendar year 2023 meeting dates, times, and places for regular meetings of the Newcastle City Council.
So if we want to change these dates, we'd mess up those guys over in Public Works.
We can get to come 2 nights that week instead of 1 if you want.
I'd like
change it
to
I'll bring it
move,
back.
make a motion to move item 18.
Second.
Motion
to approve
second
item
for
18.
approval of item number 18.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Jean Reed?
Yes.
Marcy White?
Yes.
Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 19 needs city manager comments.
I don't have any comments. Things are kind of slowing down now. They start getting slower and slower as we go toward the end of the year.
Very good. We'll have a Christmas tree lighting at some point in time and festival.
December
Third.
Third.
There you
December
go.
3rd.
Christmas
First
market.
Saturday.
Chris?
Yes, Christmas
Christmas in the
market.
park?
Have a Christmas in the Park parade. I think we're getting a 30-foot tree this year.
20-something.
Okay,
I don't
close
know
to 30
exactly.
feet.
That's like a 10-foot variable there, Assistant City Manager. Okay.
We're gonna average up to
We
30.
try to find the biggest,
Is it like
They
the one at
donated.
30 at Rockefeller Center? I think that one was 76, I read.
Item number 20, council member comments.
No comments.
I have a question now. I see
I have
this.
comments, not questions.
Oh, I have a comment.
And
I
before the
see
question,
Mr. Hayworth out there, and I told him I was gonna ask about where we're at, so I'm asking. Are we still working on possibility of a road from northwest 16th Street into Meadow Creek?
Yes,
Yes, it's still in the works. See, I promise.
and it's
I
my
was gone.
understanding we do already have that easement.
From Mr. Lee?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
all right, any other council member comments or questions? All right, seeing none, item number 21 is adjournment.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Motion second for adjournment, all in favor say aye.
Aye.